Welcome everybody again to TheTitleFight.com. We got Steve Gallegos on the line, Brandon Stubbs. We're going to chop it up with you over a couple of exciting bouts that just took place over this last weekend. We had a little bit of boxing action going on all over the world with one of the first fights kicking off the day was over the pond in England with Amir Khan and Julio Diaz. And Brandon, did you get a chance to catch that fight? And if so, what were your thoughts about that bout, Khan's chin, and Julio's performance?
I did get a chance to catch that, and honestly, Khan's chin is going to be maybe the biggest thing to continue to hold him back in his career. He's shown that he can't get tagged. I guess maybe the biggest I think you can take from that is he maybe showed more fortitude to kind of get up and keep going, but against a harder puncher, he's going to be like knocked out. He continues to have the same kind of style that he goes in with fight in and fight out.
Yeah, he kept getting tagged with the same left hook, that Diaz was probably studying a little bit of what Garcia had to come and bring to the table because he kept tagging him with that left hook. It wasn't the initial punch that dropped him, but later on in the fight you noticed that he was just hitting him like clockwork with that shot, and Khan, he weathered the storm a little bit better than he has in the past, but still kind of leaves a bunch of questions on there. What's your take on his newfound partnership here with Virgil Hunter? I mean, do you think that coach-fighter relationship is actually paid off for him, or you think it's a little bit too early to tell there?
Well, I mean, you can definitely tell a difference in his style. It's a little bit more polished, but still, though, it seems like when the fight is brought to Khan, he still has the tendency to go out and try to feel his macho and still try to go in there and bang, which is something he cannot do. He does not have the chin to go in and be in a firefight with a heavy puncher. He's gotten a little bit more patient with that, but he's still got some room to grow, and hopefully he gives Virgil Hunter the time to actually doing that work, and he actually listens to him and takes those tips and those tools he gets from him to become a better fighter as time goes on.
And afterwards, Richard Schaefer was talking to some of the British commentators over there, and they were kind of drilling him with some questions about the future for Khan, which he's going to be taking a little bit of a break with a new marriage coming up around the corner and a holiday that he's celebrating here. But back in December is what they're road mapping out for him to return for a title shot, which means that he's going to be stepping up to the plate more than likely against another formidable opponent. It's going to kind of be interesting on what that's going to play out as. But moving on here, we had another interesting bout that took place, shortly thereafter over in Argentina in front of 40,000 plus fans over there. One that kind of had people on the edge of their seats with as well and kind of scratching their heads about. Sergio Martinez taking on Martin Murray. He came a long ways to meet Martinez in a bout that, many people from the gate weren't giving him a shot at even winning or upsetting Martinez. But, as the fight began to get going and a couple rounds into it, some people were a little bit worried for Martinez, who later on it was announced he actually broke his hand. Steve, what was your take on that fight that we watched here with Martinez and Murray?
Well, it was a bit of a surprise the way Murray was able to take the fight to Martinez in the later rounds. As the fight went on, he got better, and it seemed as though Murray had a lot more punching power than a lot of us thought he did. He was able to drop Martinez not once but twice. The second one was ruled a slip, but I think it was legitimate knockdown. I mean, they did use instant replay there. They did review it, and they did review it was a slip. However, that does, would have been ruled a knockdown. It would have made the scoring a lot more tighter, and I think it probably could have ended up being the draw. I know the final scores, were fairly close. And Martinez did close the show very well, especially in the 11th and 12th rounds. He knew he had to come out, and he had to take the fight. He didn't want to leave it in the judge's hands. He wanted to make a statement, and I think he did that. It was a decent fight. A lot of it was surprising to a lot of us, how well Murray boxed. Remember, Martinez chose Murray himself, which, turned out to be a bad matchmaking deal on his end. But, Martinez won the fight. I thought he pulled it out barely, though.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I had Murray up by a point, to be honest with you. But either way, it was a good scrap all the way. And, Murray definitely did pack some punch there, and Martinez visibly felt it. I wouldn't mind seeing him stepping into the ring with Peter Quillen, who demolished Fernando Guerrero here yesterday on the undercard of Garcia-Judah as well, which kind of leads us into that fight as well there, Brandon. Garcia and Judah. I had me on the seat of my pants there. I was just like, up screaming at the TV at times there. I mean, I really wanted Judah to pull the upset, to be honest with you. I've always liked watching Judah fight for the most part. And leading into the bout, there was a lot of heat, going into this fight. Both fighters afterwards showed mad respect for each other, but it was a pretty good brawl. Brandon, what was your take on this one going into it?
Well, I got a chance to actually literally just catch that here a little while ago on the DVR, and I got to say, I thought the fight might have actually been closer than what the score indicated. The first couple of rounds were really given rounds. No one really took advantage of anybody. And really, that middle of the fight, that's when Garcia was able to just really start taking control. And then the championship rounds, those last 3 rounds, it's like after getting knocked down, Judah just kind of turned into a different guy, became more aggressive, and was landing shots. And Garcia just didn't seem like he was responding. It was definitely a good fight. It shows Judah has a lot still left in the tank. It also shows that Garcia can be vulnerable, which leads me to think if he faces the winner of the Peterson Matisse fight, that may not end so well for him, because those guys pack a heck of a lot harder punch than Judah does nowadays. But overall, it was a good fight. I don't think they got the scores wrong, but I honestly think Judah might have only lost by a point. At that, I really thought it was a close fight. Those first couple rounds being so gimme rounds, it was just kind of tough to call, but it was a good fight.
Good stuff. Yeah, it definitely was a good fight there, and I thought it was closer too than what the scorecards were showing there. I agree with you 100% there. I'm curious to see if he were to step in the ring with Peterson or Matisse, how he would handle one of those shots. He was visibly, rocked and thrown off his rhythm there once Zab started landing a few clean shots and wasn't responding the way that that he normally would. But as he said, he's still young. I think he's 25, 26, and still learning the ropes here on the job, and still yet to reach his peak, as he says. So who knows what's going to happen up with him? Steve, what do you see in the future here for Zab Judah? I mean, he's done a lot for somebody that's been in the game as long as he has. He's received a lot of criticism along the way, of course, but last night's performance clearly shows that he has something left in the tank. What do you see on the horizon for him?
Well, he's still only 35 years old, surprisingly. He's been around a long time, and he's still that young. And he always keeps in tremendous shape, He has no bad habits outside the ring, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, always stays in the gym, always stays in shape. So I think he can fight quite a while longer, probably into his, early 40s. I think he's still got at least another 5 years left in him. He's taken a little bit of punishment, but hasn't been too bad. He's been pretty resilient. He didn't get knocked out real bad, didn't take a huge beating in this fight. I thought he was done after the Amir Khan fight, but he surprised us by coming back the way he did against Paris, and then in a tremendous effort after he was put down, I thought he was going to be stopped. However, he got up, took the fight to Garcia in the later rounds, and honestly, I felt he ran out of rounds. Had that fight, had that rally started earlier, I think he probably could have pulled it out. So I see Zab Judah coming back, and I see him, in a lower than 140-pound division. I see a lot of fights still on the horizon for Zab. There's some of them champions out there that will still, give Zab Judah a chance to, based on his name recognition, and how well the fight can be built up. So I don't see Zab going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, we got another fight that's kind of been building a buzz over social media. The always loud and brash, outspoken fighters, Adrian Broner and Paulie Malignaggi here. They're going to be slated for a clash. Broner jumping up 2 weight classes. Both have been very vocal about what they're going to do to the other person. And, Brandon, in the past, I know you've had a few shared words for Broner and his personality. What do you think about this matchup here? I mean, Broner taking a big jump upstairs, 2 weight classes. He walks around at 147, 48 pounds. Malignaggi saying, hey, they make weight classes for a reason. You're biting off more than you can chew here, kid. What do you think this fight's going to play out like?
Well, I think Broner and his camp are smart if he's going to jump up in this weight class. I think Paulie is being one of their first fights because Paulie's not known as being a tremendous power puncher. So that may be something he doesn't have to worry so much about. He doesn't have to worry about if he gets tagged, if he's going to go down, because Paulie's not known for having tremendous power. With that said, though, Paulie does have a legit size advantage. That's something if Paulie can actually fight like a taller fighter and actually outboxing, he can beat Broner. Broner has shown holes in his game. He's granted he's still growing, he's still becoming a better fighter at his age. I really think Paulie can give him some problems. He's going to go the full 12 rounds. If Paulie fights smart, Paulie can win on the cards. I would see Paulie probably winning 8 out of the 12 rounds.
And, last but not least here, we're leading up into a pretty big weekend, one of the biggest weekends of the year. Saturday, May 4th, we got May Day, the big super showdown with Mayweather and Guerrero taking place down in Vegas at the MGM. Brandon and myself, we're going to be touching down in Vegas and enjoy some of the festivities over there for this mega weekend. Predictions for this fight. Anybody giving, Steve, are you giving Guerrero the advantage here at all? Or not the advantage, but I'd say the puncher's chance here, or what's your take on this fight coming up here?
Well, I give Guerrero a much better chance than most previous Mayweather opponents. I mean, I see this fight kind of looking similar to what the Cotto fight was last year. However, Guerrero packs just a little bit more of a punch than maybe Cotto does, and has a little bit more speed than Cotto does. So I see Guerrero giving Mayweather a hell of a scrap. But Floyd has got such a great boxing IQ, man. He boxes so smart, man. He knows how to pick off his opponent with his jab and him great shots. His counterpunching ability. I still think this is Mayweather's fight, so I still pick Mayweather to win, by decision.
And Brandon, 43 have tried, 43 failed. As Floyd always says going into his fights here. He obviously got hit a lot more the last fight. That's part of the reason why he brought in his dad to help fix those holes that were in his game the last go-around. He's always looking to improve like a champion should. And you mentioned that for his next 30 months on his contract that he's got here, his dad's goal is to make him get hit as least amount as possible so he can, retire in one piece, basically. What's your take going on in this fight as well, Brandon?
I honestly think, Steve hit it right on the head. Mayweather had such a high boxing IQ where that's going to give him a distinct advantage against really anyone he fights. Although I kind of think this fight is going to kind of being a weird ending fight. If with Floyd having the IQ that he does, and if Guerrero can't somehow break him like he did Berto in his last fight, Guerrero may get frustrated. And Guerrero may do something stupid, similar to what Victor Ortiz did. And I have just a weird feeling this isn't going to end up just being a normal win, just, Floyd going out dominating 12 rounds. Odd things are going to happen in this fight because Guerrero is going to get frustrated. Mm-hmm. It's going to be costing points or even cost him getting DQ'd. I see Floyd coming out on top, but Floyd's going to get banged up throughout the course of the fight.
Yeah, I'm really actually interested in seeing how this is going to play out, too. That last conference call that they hosted, obviously Guerrero, well, who knows what's going on, but he obviously had a kind of a chip on his shoulder, like Steve said before, and maybe he's just getting in mental beast mode, getting ready to unleash everything on Mayweather. I'm interested in how that's going to play out, how it's going to happen. I'm picking Mayweather, but I'm maybe putting some money on Guerrero just in case something happens lucky here. We'll see what goes down. Well, thanks, fellas, for tuning in right now. Everybody else, thanks for listening in. We'll see you guys at the fights. Have a good one.